Not 7 o'clock yet.
All right.
Rush.
Don't get ahead of yourself, Mayor.
He's hungry.
This is first meeting back.
7:12. Right.
He's trying to break records.
I know.
Be efficient.
He probably will, too.
I don't know.
Carrie's
Is
gonna,
that a challenge?
Carrie's gonna have a nice council report to throw us off. That's what it is.
I'll just keep
Yeah,
kicking the
exactly.
can down.
Why not? I'll get my timer out.
Filibuster.
Hours on the
Just repeat.
corner.
Filibuster.
Filibuster for hours. Just repeat everybody's report.
I just keep talking and talking.
Our next meeting is the 11th,
The ninth.
9th.
That clock, I don't know. Is that thing right? I got 6:59.
6:59.
I live by my Apple phone.
You're good.
I'm good to go.
There you go, you're good.
Good? All right. Good to go. Good evening and welcome to this evening, July 12th Public Council meeting. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Peterson?
Here.
Councilwoman Scavenge?
Here.
Councilman Zakeli?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Masseri?
Here.
Mayor Tinella?
Here. Wow, all new, Kat. See that? Look at that. Very nice.
I didn't-
Please rise for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Adequate notice of this meeting was duly provided to the Verona Cedar Grove Times and the Star Ledger by email and published in an annual schedule of meetings dated December 24th, 2020, filed with the Township Clerk, and posted on the public bulletin board in the municipal building lobby in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act. Item 2, approval of minutes. Do we have a motion to approve items A and B? We can take them together?
Make a motion to approve, Mayor.
Is there a second?
Second.
And is there a motion to approve with release?
With release.
Okay, and there's a second. Is there any discussion? So we have a motion to consider approval of minutes of regular public meetings, June 7th, 2021, and June 21st, 2021. A roll call, please.
Councilwoman Peterson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Scavenge?
Abstain.
Scavenge, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Councilman Zakeli?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Masseri?
Yes.
Mayor Tinella?
Yes, the meeting is now open to residents of the township wishing to be heard on any item on or off the agenda. Seeing none, we'll move on to reports of township officials. Mr. Tucci, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor. First thing we're going to start off with is, I just want to report to you that we had our annual sale of bond anticipation notes. Bond anticipation notes are notes that we roll over every single year. Fortunately for us, the interest rates were really, really good. We got an interest rate of .2124, which is substantially less than what it was last year. Overall, we're going to save, again, a lot of money. There's two ways you can go out and bond anything. You can do a serial bond, which you can go for 20 or 30 years, or if the interest rates are good, you roll every year and you roll the dice year to year. We've been very, very fortunate. We bonded $21,943,000, and the interest rate was very favorable, which is going to save us money because our debt service is going to be less than if the interest rate was higher. So that's just want to report on that. The next thing is tied into that, which is refunding bonding ordinance, which is later on in the agenda. If you all remember, those of you who were here, back in 2013, we bonded $19,860,000. Mainly, that was for the municipal pool at that point. And that was back, like I said, in 2013. Of that, right now, we paid about $13,075,000, which means that there is about $6,785,000 left. At that time, when we did the serial bond, we had an interest rate of 2.279%. Our bond counsel advises us that right now, we could get probably a bond rate of 1.468%. So on the remaining $6.7 million that's left, if we recast it, we could probably save another $412 million over, $412,000 over the remaining portion. So that's what the recommendation is, and that's why it's on the agenda for this evening. I didn't think anybody would object to saving $412,000. So, here we go.
Perfect.
Next item I'm going to talk about is the Cliffside Drive pilot. I think Councilman Sekeli, you have to recuse yourself on this. So you should probably get up and, this way, just make no mistake about any potential conflicts. I had distributed material regarding the development at 36 Cliffside Drive. The developer has submitted an application to us for a pilot agreement. In order for that to happen, the council and the governing body and the planning board has to declare it an area in need of redevelopment. Our council has prepared a memo on procedurally how that happens. But the first step that needs to happen is the governing body needs to refer it to the planning board for review and recommendation. But again, we're talking about a pilot program of approximately $1.2 million once it's in full bloom, probably 5 years after it's built, only because it's going to take 5 years for it to build and be occupied. So I don't know what the governing body's pleasure is, but that would be the first step if you're so inclined to move forward with it.
Thank you, Mr. Tucci. Council, do we need you need a motion in order to refer it over
Yes,
to the
you
planning
do.
board?
Do.
Okay. Is there a motion for,
Mayor,
To
I'll make the
recommend-
motion to refer to the planning board for review and
is
recommendation.
there a second?
Yes, second.
Second. Under discussion, is there any discussion? Anybody have any questions? We saw the memo we have in the packet. Everybody have any questions?
It's pretty extensive, you
Yeah.
know, and if anybody has any questions regarding it, you can call me. We can go into a little finer detail on
Okay,
it.
whatever. I'm good.
But what'll happen is the planning board with our town planner will do a study, and then you'll get a written memo back from them what their findings are. At that point, as the memo says, you'll do an ordinance and first reading, second reading, and we'll move on from there.
It's really the first
If you're
step
so
of the
inclined to do-
process,
If
you're
you're
ready to get it going.
inclined to do so.
Okay.
All right?
So we have a motion, we have a second, no discussion, roll call, please.
Councilwoman Peterson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Skavich?
Yes.
Skavich, I'm sorry.
I'll kick her, don't worry about it.
I'll answer to both. The first meeting. Councilman Sekeli has recused himself. Deputy Mayor Masseri?
Yes.
Mayor Tinelli?
Yes.
I
Okay.
think we could have Councilman Sekeli come back in
Yeah.
Right.
before we move forward. The next item I have, like I said, Mayor, I have one item for confidential.
Got it.
It's regarding potential litigation, Resilient Realty. Also, I'm going to steal some of the township attorney's thunder. There are two memos in the packet. One's regarding the Faulkner Act and how this government works. Traditionally, I give those memos out when we have a new council person come on, so they understand, you know, what the workings of this form of government is. There are many forms of government in the state of New Jersey. They all work a little bit differently. And the other one is, which is, I think, more important and more vital to the governing body, is social media and the Open Public Meetings Act. Social media, you got to be careful, in particular, as you're texting amongst each other. Once you get into a group of more than two, it constitutes a quorum at that point. Correct me if I'm wrong. And you can get into trouble with that. And the other thing is going on Facebook. Whatever you do on Facebook is very potentially litigious, only because what you say on Facebook, even though it may be your own private Facebook, you open yourself up to Oprah, which means that anything on that device that you use, because you're still an elected official, is Oprahable. So then you open it up to all your personal stuff on it. So you should be very careful. Social media, Facebook, all those other good things, while they're all good tools to communicate with the public, you got to be careful how you go about doing it. Please read the memo in depth. You can call the town attorney for advice. She'll cue you in a little further on the do's and don'ts. But I can't stress enough, Facebook and social media, while it's good, it could be potentially very dangerous, especially as a public official. And that's all I have for this evening, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Tucci. Mrs. Stutz, good evening.
Good evening. No report.
No report, look at you. All right. Township Attorney,
The only report is for closed, Mayor.
for what?
Closed session has to do with the Resilient.
Okay, yep, I got that. Okay, great. All right, moving on to other reports. So I'll start off. Just want to welcome everybody. It's good to see everybody in our first, first meeting of the July. Welcome again, Councilwoman Scabbage, you know, Deputy Mayor, former Mayor, and Councilman Zakelli. It's exciting, you know, we're all in kind of new roles here, and it's just, it's fun. I'm looking forward to this year as I was last year, so we work really well together, and I'm looking forward to it. A couple things I just wanted to go over. I met last week following in the work that Mayor Peterson was doing. I met with the Master Board President and the President of the Condo Board over at Hilltop last week. Sat down with both of them. We talked about how Hilltop was going, some of the things that you had talked with them, their predecessors about. So they're very happy, residents are very happy, and just wanted to continue that open line of communication between us and the residents at Hilltop. You have a question, Mr. Tucci?
I just have
Yep.
one comment. I
Yep.
did get a call today and was told that the president resigned.
Oh, really?
Over the weekend, so I don't know.
Which one? Do you know?
I don't know.
So there's two presidents, because there's two forms of
What happens, there's two different
association,
condo
right.
associations.
Right.
One's for the stacked townhomes, and the other one's for the townhouses and condominiums.
Okay,
And what happens is, if they address this governing body, they're gonna have to come together
Mm-hmm.
and be as one, because one can't do one, request one thing and another one do another.
okay.
Do they have a master association? or
That's
is
the
it-
one,
That's-
yeah, so there's a president of that association, then you have a condo association. So I met with both of them last week. I'll find out, and I can report back to the council who resigned. Yeah, you-
Why is
sure.
there two?
I think there's some legality that they can't combine it and have one
Really?
because of the type of housing it is.
Yeah, one's a condo, they're stacked, and, yeah, I'm not sure, I don't know if you don't know anything about that, council, I'm not sure that area of the law.
So I've done this
Yeah.
in the past,
Yeah, right.
Mayor, for another community in Bergen, where we had, one building was townhomes, and those were sold to, purchasers. and so forth, so we had no control over that. Then we had a condo building as well, so we formed a master association because we had common roadways that both developments were utilizing, so that's why we formed it, because they had to contribute their proportionate share towards the repair, replacement, improvement, and so forth. So that's the only instance where I've done that, where I've formed a master association.
Right, so,
I'm guessing that's the same here.
Yeah, I think that's what they're gonna need.
they have
It's
it, so
not-
it's in place now, and they work well together, I mean, so they communicate, two separate boards, all with a common purpose, obviously, because they're all in one community.
Right.
So, but I just wanted to let you know, I did meet with them just to kind of let them know that we're here as part of one community,
Right.
Cedar Grove. So, and they were appreciative of that. Just a couple follow-ups from the reorganization meeting. I think we're going to go into executive session and talk about Rizal and Realty. That's the property owner
Okay,
on
yes.
corner of Fairview. Okay, so we'll get more details about that. LRP, Mr. Tucci, just the ETA on that multi-purpose field being completed. Are we still looking at September, October, November? What are you
I'm told
thinking?
the end of August.
End of August.
The field will be complete the end of August.
Great, okay. So in terms of the field being completed in the end of August, we need to, and I'll refresh my memory, we got to come up with a plan or an agreement in place with the Board of Ed.
As a matter of fact, the town attorney is one step ahead. She is in the process of preparing that. As a matter of fact, I have some survey data, a map form to give you. This way you can describe the piece of property within their piece of property.
I think you should send that to me, and I'll draft it.
So we'll have that, a draft to look at that, probably at the next staff meeting you're thinking of? Is that your plan? Okay, good.
Everybody wants, sure.
All right, good. North End Firehouse, so, Mr. Tucci, maybe just for the public's edification, just explain what we're doing there in terms of a time frame as we roll out over the next year, what we're looking at, the overall goal.
Well, right now, we have already had the initial meeting preliminary. As a matter of fact, there's a resolution on this evening awarding a contract to Dasa Haynes of Montclair to do the architectural design for the building. We had a preliminary meeting with the fire department, and just laid out what the wish list is from the fire department to be incorporated in these plans at this point. We anticipate probably going to be 90 to 120 days before we see any preliminary drawings at this point. At that, will go back to the fire department, and the governing body will review them at that point. Once we nail something down, we're probably looking at early into next year, once we get a price and a framework of what this is going to cost us, what direction we're going to go in. At that point, we'll probably come back and ask the governing body for a bond ordinance. If it's within your budget, we will move ahead with it at that point.
So if we're going to start building, you're probably talking about spring of 2022?
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
we would think about?
Because there are regulatory hurdles that we have to go through.
Got it. Okay, good. And staying on that same theme of township improvements, we're all excited. We're talking about, early phases of possibly building a community center in town. Now, we approved authorization to go out with plans similar to the firehouse, correct?
That's correct.
What's just again, for the public's knowledge, a time frame? What we're looking in terms of that?
Well, right now, we have RFPs out for architectural services. I won't have a time frame for you until I get those back, and we have the designated architect. Once that happens, we'll be able to set up time frames at that point. I don't know what their workload's going to be, so it's hard to determine at this point.
Okay. And like we talked about at the reorganization meeting and also beforehand, the goal here is to get plans, and once the council reviews the plans, obviously with our professionals, we are going to obviously have the public input on that, which we're looking forward to. It's an exciting time for the town. That project alone could serve many purposes and many people in town, as well as possibly refurbishing that pool building, which obviously is in need of refurbishment. So that'll be exciting. And then the last thing I have, Mr. Tucci, talked about pickleball. I know that was a topic of conversation. I know you've been talking with our recreation director about pickleball in terms of where we may be able to locate some courts, in terms of maybe any plans for any type of pickleball for this year.
Well,
What are you thinking?
This is the plan. The plan is the older set of tennis courts on Little Falls Road, right at the base of Bordick, will be refurbished and relined to include pickleball, and that will be in next year's capital budget for you to review. For this year, to gauge interest, what we plan on doing is we're going to open up and have a pickleball tournament. Residents will be able to sign up and register for it. We'll temporarily line those courts, and that's going to be the end of August of this year. And this way, we'll see what the interest is and, what the public's feedback is moving forward with the new project.
Great, perfect. Is those courts lighted down there? That's not lighted, correct? Are they lighted? I don't remember. Are there lights there?
I don't believe so.
We don't have lights down there, right?
No.
Okay, I wasn't sure, I forget. And the last thing, I'm sorry, the bocce ball court. We have 3 at Community Park. Are we planning to do a 4th one there?
We are in the planning stages to see how we can fit. We think we can put a 4th one in. As a matter of fact, it's set up with the electric for lighting when we did the 3rd one for a 4th one, and hopefully we'll be able to get that in.
I was looking this weekend, I was down there. The one line, I guess there's 2, I forgot what's there. There's something there next to the new one we just built.
Correct.
You can't put one right next to that.
So it'll be.
On the other side
It'll
of
be
the
a
new
little
one.
bit offset.
Okay.
Yeah, but we will be able to get another one in, I believe.
Great. And is that something for spring of next year you're
That's for
looking to
next
do?
year also.
That's another
Yeah.
capital project?
Again, our capital budget
Yep.
only could take so much. We only spend what we can afford.
Project, okay, great. Okay, that's all I have. Deputy Mayor?
No report tonight, Mayor.
No report. Look at you. Oh. Councilwoman Peterson,
Thank you, Mayor.
yes.
I just had a question about where, for our attorney, where are we, and forgive me, I just can't remember, with the marijuana ordinance? Did we?
We passed that.
We passed it? Okay.
Yes.
I was driving here, I'm like, I think we passed it, I'm not sure, I can't remember, but I wanted to ask. Okay, we did? We're good, okay, we did? Thank you.
Special public meeting.
Okay,
The
perfect.
minutes you just approved.
Okay, great. That's all I have.
That's all you have? You sure, you're good? Okay, Councilman Sekeli.
Thank you, Mayor. No report. I just want to actually thank council for how detailed her memos were with respect to the public meeting requirements and the form of government. They're very easy to read and will be a lot of benefit to this governing body. I do, Mayor, however, have one item for personnel under executive session.
Got it, perfect.
That's all.
Okay,
Thank
good.
you.
Councilwoman Skavich.
I have no update, just a thank you. Our roads got resurfaced in the Ridgewood Acres area of Cedar Grove. Coincidentally, had nothing to do with me being on the council. So thank you, they did a terrific job. It was in dire need of repair.
And we will continue. Traditionally, we spend probably about $200,000 per year. That's just on resurfacing, take milling and overlay. We probably spend another $500,000 to $750,000 in reconstruction, which is curb, sidewalks, on other roads in town. And that normally we fund through grants.
Okay.
NJDOT local aid, community development block grants, so on and so forth. So we have two different programs going on. I will be getting you, as the new council person, a list of our roadway inventory. And what it does is it lists every street in town, what the condition is, when it was paved, what the catch basins look like, if there are sidewalks, what the sidewalk condition is, and basically, that is the Bible that we use to do the streets.
Right.
Because, a lot of people believe that if they come here and just complain, it works. There is a system on how it goes, the worst streets get done, and we move down that list, and this way, there's no, anybody gets preference over somebody else.
Right.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. That's good. All right, great. Moving on to new business, item 5A, to consider introduction of pending ordinance 21877, refunding bond ordinance.
Mayor, I move introduction of pending ordinance number 21-877 to be published in full in the Verona Cedar Grove Times as a pending ordinance with a public hearing scheduled for August 9th, 2021.
Is there a second?
I'll second that, Mayor.
Under discussion, Mr. Tucci, you just want to, some of these, just want to just touch on these, this is what we were just talking about, in
This
terms
is
of
what
the
we talked,
refinance.
we
That's
talked
right.
about
Yep.
earlier. I
Yep.
can recap it again for you real
Yeah,
fast, Mayor, if you want.
No, you did it, you did a nice job, unless anybody has any questions for Mr. Tucci. Anybody? No? Okay. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Peterson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Scavich?
Yes.
Councilman Zakeli?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Masseri?
Yes.
Mayor Tinella?
Yes. Item 5B, to consider a resolution concerning display of flags on township flagpoles.
Mayor, I motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Under discussion, I just had a question. I know what we talked about, the policy we wanted to implement here. How is this going to be handled in terms of the new flagpole we installed at Panther Park, which was my understanding? That was going to be a flagpole that we were really going to use, for, I guess, I don't know what the terminology is.
Government speech.
I'm sorry?
Non-government.
Non-government speech. So how does that, because that is a township flagpole, so,
I think that's perhaps something maybe we want to talk about in closed session.
so maybe we pull this separately? Are we ready to put this forward now, or, I don't,
What do you think?
Well, this resolution covers your
The
municipal
municipality.
flagpole only.
Yeah, this one.
oh, this one only?
Yeah.
It doesn't cover.
Well, it does say parks and
Yeah,
playgrounds, though.
it is.
Maybe we should tweak the wording
Yeah.
on that.
Take that.
I mean, it's within the public parks, playgrounds, so I didn't look at this just a town hall, I looked at this of all of them. So, okay, so if there's no objection, can we just pull this off the agenda, just so we can all be
We
on the
tweak it
same
up,
page?
yes.
And then, okay, good. All right, thank you. All right, moving on to 5C, to consider a resolution concerning 2021 salaries of unrepresented municipal employees. Is there a motion to approve?
Did you do the clean community? Oh, no.
That's
Oh, no,
next,
all
that's
right,
the, she
next one.
moved it,
I'm
yep.
jumping, okay.
Yep. Is there a motion to approve item 5C?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Weather warning. No discussion? A roll call, please.
Councilwoman Peterson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Scavich?
Yes.
Councilman Zakeli?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Masseri?
Yes.
And Mayor Tinella?
Yes. Item 5D, to consider a resolution concerning insertion of item of special revenue, Clean Communities Program.
So moved, Mayor.
Is there a second?
Second.
Under discussion, Mr. Tucci?
Just an explanation. Clean Communities is a program that the state of New Jersey puts on that to give municipalities money to have litter abatement throughout your community. We get that every year, and we just have normally a ceremonial Clean Communities Day, which is normally the first Saturday of every June. What this money is, monies that the state distributes primarily, I don't know how to word this, primarily for more urban communities, so you'll see that the bulk of the dollars go there. You know, we do get this smaller amount. And what we do with it, we use it for our baskets along Pompton Avenue. We buy new benches for our community. We also have the flower watering. We have a truck, special truck. We buy that equipment with it. So that's what you'll see us utilizing that particular money for. The program has been around for a long time, and I think it's one of the better ones that the state invests in. There was one year where they did away with it, and the public went crazy, so they reinstated it. But again, the reason why it's done as a special insertion into the budget, and I lost my train of thought there for a minute, is because this is being put in after the budget's already been adopted. If the budget wasn't adopted, it would have just been inserted in the budget, and you would have adopted it with that. So anytime we get monies after the budget's adopted that we need to spend in that calendar year, it's a special item.
Thank you, Mr. Tucci. Did you mention this is utilized for clean sweep? Did you say that too?
Yes.
You did? I'm sorry. Okay, good. Great, thank you for the explanation. We have a motion, a second. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Peterson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Scavich?
Yes.
Councilman Zakeli?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Massari?
Yes.
Mayor Tinelli?
Yes. Item 6, approval of bills. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Under discussion, any discussion? Other than,
$2.6 million, because Joe Sakala
There
is
he
not
is.
here for the Board of Education, and $200,000 for health benefits.
Thank you.
Those are the big items. Joe would be proud of me.
I highlighted it for you, Mr. Tucci. I did. He would. He's smiling right now. That's good. Great. Thank you, Mr. Tucci. A roll call, please.
Councilwoman Peterson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Scavich?
Yes.
Councilman Zakeli?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Massari?
Yes.
Mayor Tinelli?
Yes. Item 7, contracts and agreements. A, to consider a resolution concerning award of contract for marketing of recyclables,
Yes.
Basso Rubbish Removal, Inc. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion, Mayor.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, this is not good news for us. Recyclable materials, under our old contract, we got paid. Now, the market has bottomed out, and because our contract has expired, we will be paying now. You'll see the dollar amounts indicated here. That's the only reason why we only went with a one-year contract. Normally, we go with a 5-year contract and try to lock in where it's favorable. But we'll roll the dice and see what happens next year, because the numbers are quite high, what we're going to be paying.
Mr. Tucci, you think there's a chance for the tide to turn and maybe the market to go up again where it will reverse back, you're
Yeah,
thinking
that's
maybe?
what we're
We're hoping
hoping
on?
for, that the foreign markets will open up again, and the prices will be favorable, and we'll end up getting paid. So that's why we'll roll the dice and send it out to bid again next year.
Well, the good news is, with Basso, they've been our recycler, I guess, previously. They've been doing a nice job.
No, they do.
They do a nice job with recycling. I know in years past, we had issues with our vendor, and even down at the recycling center, I was down there this Saturday, it's in great shape. It really looks nice.
Well, the paving
Yeah.
this year
Paving's
helped,
great.
really cleaned
Yeah.
everything up. And just so you know, Dave Basso is a
Resident.
resident of
Yep.
Cedar Grove, so.
Yep.
he
They're
takes
doing a really
little
nice
bit
job.
More interest here.
We have a motion, a second, roll call, please.
Councilwoman Peterson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Scavich?
Yes.
Councilman Zakeli?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Massari?
Yes.
Mayor Tinelli?
Yes. Item 7B, to consider a resolution concerning a water contract for architectural design services for North End Firehouse.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Just a quick question, Mayor,
Sure.
through you. Mr. Tucci, during the interim time, this is way down the road, would we be using the firehouse on Fairview for the North End fire members to?
It'll
Stage
be
out of-
split up between the one on Fairview and the new South End.
Okay.
So between the two, that will be the coverage for the engines that will be pulled out of there.
Okay, thank you.
You think the time frame, that's just the building time. That could be 6 months to a year, I guess,
Exactly.
depending. Right. That's good point. Okay.
And we have a couple of firemen that are very knowledgeable in the
Yes.
building field. I'm sure he's not going to let it go a long time.
No, I don't think he will. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Peterson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Scavenge?
Yes.
Councilman Zakeli?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Masseri?
Yes.
Mayor Tunnello?
Yes, the meeting is now open to residents.
Mayor, before you do that, I just
Yes.
have one more item that
Sure.
I forgot to include in my report. As I spoke to you, Mayor, about privately, the township will be receiving $1.2 million in a grant. It was part of the American Dream, I believe, part of the COVID financing that came out. A lot of municipalities received a lot of money. We'll be receiving it in two tranches, $600,000. I think the first $600,000 hit our account on the 9th of July, and the second $600,000 will be next year. What we're proposing is, because you have to do it somewhat COVID-related, we were going to try to rebuild the building on 14 Cedar Street with the $1.2 million, put 2 garage bays and a new fireman's secretarial office on the upstairs. If the governing body is okay with that, I'd like to start the process, at least get some architectural service design out in an RFP form.
That's great. Any comment?
Just a question, Mayor.
Sure.
Is that where Atlantic Ambulance is currently
Correct.
staging out of?
That's correct.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Any other questions or comments? Any objection? No objection? Okay. All right, Mr. Tucci, go proceed. Anything else?
That's it. Sorry to
Okay.
interrupt.
Nope, not at all. All right, the meeting is now open to residents of the township wishing to be heard on any item on or off the agenda concerning township business. Good evening, Ms. Hartwick.
Good evening, Kate Hartwig, Essex County Liaison. Welcome, Councilwoman Scabbage. Nice to meet you. I was listening to your conversation earlier about pickleball courts, and I just wanted to bring to your attention that in the last month, I will say, we've added pickleball lines to the tennis courts in Verona Park and in Grover Cleveland Park. So there are some additional pickleball courts. Previously, they were tennis only, and they are not permitted, so they are open on a first-come, first-serve basis for any resident who wishes to play on those courts. The other item is, last time I was here, I mentioned about our summer concert series. Unfortunately, we were not as successful as your township in putting off our fireworks for the 4th of July. So they will be taking place this Friday, July 16th in Brookdale Park. 7:30 p.m. We'll have a concert by the Infernos, followed by our fireworks and 4th of July celebration, a little delayed. And then our summer concert series will kick off on August 9th. And I'd previously dropped off postcards. They also should have been mailed to residents by now. And you can keep following EssexCovid.org for updates on our mobile vaccine sites. They are moving throughout the county and are still being offered at Kmart and at Essex County College.
Did you see our fireworks?
I did.
Okay.
I did see that.
Okay, just checking.
That's how I knew they went off. So, thank you.
I
Thank
have
you.
one question, Ms. Harwood. How long is the COVID site at the Kmart going to remain open?
Right now, they are working on reducing days, but I don't have any information about an actual closure yet.
Okay.
The Kmart site is, some of our sites were being operated in schools. Those sites have shut down to allow the schools to prepare for their return to school. These sites, as of right now, are just planned to stay open on a reduced number of days and hours.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Ms. Harwick, I have a question through you, Mayor. Is the community center up in like full capacity with lunches and?
It is not.
It is not, okay. Is there an anticipated date for that?
There is not at this time. We are awaiting some confirmation from the state about congregate sites with our senior population. What is currently available is rentals of the building. Those can be reserved through the Parks Department, and it is EssexCountyParks.org for that information.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Thank you, man.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Anybody else from the public wishing to be heard? Before we move on, I was remiss in just mentioning tomorrow night, the Cedar Grove Chamber of Commerce, Ms. Hartwick, you jogged my memory, is going to have their the start of their summer concert series. They have 2 concerts, one tomorrow night. It's the Smooth Band. The concert starts at 7 o'clock. Councilman Zakeli, Deputy Mayor, is there something beforehand?
Thank you,
You
Mayor.
want-
The Historical Society is reopening the farmhouse for tours at 5:30. Mr. Tucci, as you worked diligently this year, the town put a lot of money into the house. We put a new roof, put a new floor in the barn. So they're looking forward to showing that off. It opens at 5:30, which is before the concert, so I'll be there for a tour. I think actually Councilwoman Peterson's going to give a tour, I think.
So if you can get there earlier, great, you can see the farmhouse. If not, bring your lawn chair. There's going to be, if you go on to the Chamber's website, you'll see all the vendors that are going to be there. It makes for a really fun evening, a really community-oriented event. So that's tomorrow night, and on the 20th, they have the Infernos. Same time, same place, 7 o'clock at Morgan's Farm.
And just, I'd like to add one
Yep.
thing. The concert series this year, the Chamber is dedicating them to a good friend of mine, John Alati, who had passed. And I think some of the proceeds are going to go toward a foundation that was created in his name. So those of you who can make it, John was an outstanding person. He basically brought the concert series here to Cedar Grove, so it's only befitting that they honor him in this way. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Mr. Tucci, because John's also was he's integral part of our Christmas celebration out of town on the front lawn here. He always reminded me that he brought those like 7 feet wooden soldiers to us, who sang very well. Those guys are great, so he'll be missed.
They stigmatized all the kids.
Anybody else have any other comment? All right, seeing none, whereas Section 8 of the Open Publics Meeting Act permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting of the mayor and council in certain circumstances, and whereas the mayor and council of the township of the Cedar Grove are of the opinion that such circumstances exist, now therefore be it resolved by the mayor and council of the township of Cedar Grove, county of Essex, state of New Jersey, that the public shall be excluded from discussion of any action on the executive session of the meeting of the mayor and council of July 12th, 2021. The general nature of the subject matters to be discussed is personnel and litigation. It is anticipated at this time that the above stated subject matter will be made public as soon thereafter, as it is deemed in the public interest to do so. This resolution shall take effect immediately. Is there a motion?
I move to go into executive session.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye? Great, okay. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Have a good night.